miss me? Come on, let's dance.
Oh, you know how I feel about dancing.
You know how I don't care. Come on, it's a party.
Yeah, an office party.
I thought you wanted to have fun. Don't make me make you have fun.
I'm guessing that's not eggnog.
So what? Come on, if you don't want to dance, we could just get out of here.
I didn't see you with a cocktail.
Well, maybe I brought my own. Want some?
What's going on with you today?
What's the big deal? You drink.
Not alone in the bathroom.
I'm just having fun.
Right, first night I met you, you were having fun, passed down your driveway. A couple weeks later, it was an alley in Mexico. It's like my mom all over again.
Shut up.
I'm getting out of here.
No, I am. Enjoy the party.
Hey,
get your hands off of me. I have enough people in my life telling me what to do. See ya.
California, here we come, right back where we started from. California.
Hello, and welcome to a very special podcast, and welcome to the OC, bitch. I'm your host, Patrick M. Dunn, and you probably remember me from the previous, 37 episodes. I calculated this, 2 days ago, and I've already forgotten it.
I don't even know where we are. I have no idea what number we're on. I just know it's more than 30 and less than 50.
Okay, that's a good call. This is a bonus episode, too, for the holidays.
Yes, it is.
We're going Christmas on your ass. And anyway, so...
We are Christmas crazy. I created a monster with Patrick, and it just won't stop.
Yeah, well, you jokingly said in maybe October, we should do, posts, blog posts during the month of December. And I did, 5 before, December 1st even happened.
Yeah, you were, cranking them out. I'd go onto the Hulu account and be like, why is Patrick watching this? And then, the next day, a blog post would pop up. I'm like, oh, that's why.
I think on Netflix I watched an episode of A Different World, and I did a little Christmas post on that, which we got, a little mini popularity with that one.
Yeah, that one went sort of viral for us, so
some random A Different World Tumblr reblogged it, and then all these people just liked it.
Yeah, and it just kept going. There was a half hour when my phone kept chiming with your post has been reblogged, your post has been liked. And I'm like, what post? And I look, I'm like, oh, interesting.
Have you ever seen that episode of Different World, the one I wrote about?
I have seen every episode of A Different World, but not for a long time. It's one of those shows that's in my queue to be a rewatch. I just haven't done it yet. Oh,
it's so ripe for the picking. It was such an enjoyable show, and the one I watched was a Christmas Carol. So it was whatever the name of the school that they went to, that version of the Christmas Carol. Hillman, that was it. And so all the characters play the ghosts that come and visit. Sinbad is one of the ghosts.
Yeah. I love A Different World is probably one of my favorite TV shows. And I can still love it because we can ignore its connection to Bill Cosby, so it's okay. Yeah,
I think Cosby characters appear in the first season, but after that is when is it Denise that's on the show?
Yeah, Denise. I think there's an episode later on where Dwayne and Whitley visit Denise.
Yeah, I think there's late in the show's run, but
it's just this random one because Lisa Bonet had come back to the Cosby Show.
Oh yeah, she wasn't in Africa or wherever the hell she went.
Yeah.
But yeah, so once you get out of the first season of A Different World, we are Cosby free for a while, so that could be definitely a future episode of the podcast. But we haven't finished introducing ourselves, and last time we forgot to promote us, so...
You remembered, and I, somehow got on a rant about video cassette tapes. Or something.
It comes with the turf, but, anyway, I'm Patrick M. Dunn, and I'm joined here by Kat Halstead, the author.
What up?
She writes books, and I believe you have a Christmas-themed novel out there somewhere floating around?
I do. It is called Silent Night. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, pretty much everywhere.
And what's the...
Or you can just go to cathalstead.com and find the links to that, or any of my other books.
That works. What's the plot of Silent Night?
Silent Night is a girl has to go home for Christmas with her family, and it's not like a small family thing. It's like this major extended family situation, and she doesn't like anybody in her family. And there's this guy that she falls for, but she pushes him away, and, that kind of stuff.
Scandalous.
It's the kind of stuff Hallmark movies are made out of.
And it kind of reminds me of, in a weird way, what's that movie with Jennifer Aniston and maybe Vince Vaughn? Is it Jennifer Aniston? And they don't want to go to their Christmases? No,
You're thinking of The Breakup, and it's not like that.
Okay, there's another movie with Jennifer Aniston, and she doesn't want to go to her Christmases. Isn't it like Many Christmases or something? Or Too Many Christmases?
Oh, you're thinking of Four Christmases with Vince Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon.
Oh, that's
who played Jennifer Aniston's younger sister on Friends.
All right, I knew I had that weird connection. I knew Vince Vaughn was in it. I kind of lump all those romantic comedies into one movie in my mind. But we also have a website. It's a very special podcast.tumblr.com.
Yep.
Check
and we have all kinds of amazing stuff on there right now.
What do we got? I don't even know, to be honest with you.
Let's see. We have all our episodes you can find the links to. And you can find the links to our Pinterest and our YouTube, which also has almost all of our episodes posted. And then
you can also find
we also have a bunch of articles.
You can find
we have all those articles we've been writing.
You can find A Different World article on there.
Yes, I've got a Christmas countdown going with different episodes of TV shows that are Christmassy. I think today did the 8 Simple Rules episode or something. I don't even know what's posted because I have them all just queued up to go.
Nice. So check it out. And wait, you said we had a Pinterest?
Yes, we have a Pinterest.
What's on
Well,
it?
we have a Pinterest board.
Okay, what's on it?
Mostly drink recipes is what's on there.
And I believe my bread recipe is on there too, right?
Yes. Aunt Kitty took care of it. It has been pinned.
Okay. Did I put it up there, or did you put it up there?
You put it on the website.
Okay.
You put it on our Tumblr, and then I pinned it.
Oh, okay. And did you just call yourself Aunt Kitty?
Yes. Okay, I spend the majority of my day with a toddler who goes, Aunt Kitty, Aunt Kitty, Aunt Cat, Aunt Cat, Aunt Kitty, Aunt Kitty, Aunt Kitty.
So it's just ingrained in your memory by this point?
Yes.
All right, so
with the theme song to the Monkees, so.
Nice. So should we start talking about the OC? There's so much to talk about this show.
Yes, let's talk about one of the greatest teen soap operas ever.
It really is. I know 90210 is a great show, but this show kind of changed the mold, basically.
90210 looks saccharine, sweet, and innocent in comparison to the OC.
Yes, and 90210, that was a great show. It had the core cast, everyone got along, but they had so many changes, and the show just kind of got boring as the show went along. And I guess maybe we loved the OC a lot more because it didn't last for so long. It was very short-lived. It only had 4 seasons. So we didn't...
It had 4 seasons. And a lot happened in those 4 seasons, though, if you think about it.
Oh, yeah, because Josh Schwartz, who created the show, he was 25 or 26 when the show was started, so he had never worked on a TV show before, so he just and he never watched these kind of shows. He was kind of a comic book nerd, and he just kind of came up with the show, and he it was just a fast moving train, and he did probably 4 years of storylines in the first season.
Oh yeah, the first season is insane. Like what they did in those first in that first season could have been done on another show in 4 seasons. It would have been a slow burn.
Like the character of Luke, who's not even in the episode that we're going to be discussing tonight. Luke, Anna, and Jimmy Cooper are like pretty much written off the show after the first season.
Yeah, they are.
They might appear here and there.
Luke was actually one of my favorites, and then they wrote him off. And it's like, that's really sad.
Well, he was the villain, kind of, and then
he was. Well, was Luke really the villain, or was Marissa the villain?
Well, I mean, Marissa ended up being the villain of the show, or Misha Barton ended up being the villain of the show, but I think, like, Luke had a bad boy image, and he just, they went through it real quick, you know, then he became part of the gang, and it just didn't feel right. Like, it would be like if, it would be like if on a pup named Scooby-Doo, if all of a sudden, like, Red Herring was, like, a friend with the rest of the cast.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah.
And they did, like, a few storylines where Ryan and Luke are friends, or, like, maybe Seth and Luke are hanging out, and it didn't come off natural, I guess. So, I mean, I guess it was the natural thing to do. And they kind of did some weird things with Anna, too, who is in this episode.
I think they just had no clue what to do with Anna once Seth makes his decision between Anna and Summer.
Yeah, and to be honest, she was an interesting character at first, but then she just grew to become annoying because there's no way she's a comic book nerd.
Oh yeah.
Like even
like Anna, just no.
When Samir Armstrong, the actress who plays Anna, reads the lines like about comic books, you just feel like she's reading a cue card, like she's an SNL character.
Yes, totally.
Yeah, but so if we haven't even mentioned it, the episode that we're doing tonight is it the best Chrismukkah ever?
The best Chrismukkah ever!
It's also
known as the first Chrismukkah that we got to be a part of because it's the first season.
Yes, so this is a first season episode. It's episode 13. So the show premiered in 2003, so it's 12 years old at this point, believe it or not.
Holy crap! 12, damn.
And it started, it was a summer show. It came in like the middle of summer, and they might not have been sure. Fox was kind of maybe nervous, so they just dumped it off in the summer.
Yeah, Fox didn't know what was going to happen with this show, so they started in like July, June?
Yeah, and they had like 7 or 8 episodes, and I guess it...
Yeah, it was definitely, they were not expecting this show to be a hit, is the feeling I got. So it blew up. This show, it blew up kind of the way Empire blew up.
Yeah, but I think like this show came out in a time before you could watch things on the internet, so there wasn't Hulu or anything like that, or those. So
yeah, you didn't have all that. You you couldn't buy episodes on iTunes. You couldn't stream it on YouTube. Like that stuff didn't really exist. Like iTunes existed, but nobody was watching TV on it.
But what I remember about the OC, though, was that Fox re-aired it like 4 or 5 times for like the summer. So they would air the pilot episode, and it was on again the next day, then it was on again the next day. So they just kept repeating it.
Really? I don't remember that. But I had other stuff to watch during the summer, too.
I never watched anything during the summer, but I just remember this being on every night. And I was like, why is this fucking show on every single night? And then I just kind of like, I got hooked on it.
Yeah, I remember watching it, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. We'll see what it's like. And then because I remember sitting in the living room, I had my laptop, because I was always on my laptop, of course. Like on AIM or whatever the heck I was doing in 2003, because there was no Twitter, no Facebook. What the hell was I doing online?
Message boards.
Yeah, seriously. And just being like so into the show. And I remember, like, my stepmom was in the room watching, and she's like, what is this? Like, she wasn't impressed, but I was, like, addicted.
The coolest thing I thought about the show was, it had, like, guys at the center of the show. It was Seth and Ryan. And I know a lot of shows. I know like Now and Toronto has Brandon and Dylan, but the show was really about Brenda and Kelly, and then later Valerie and Kelly. So we had a show from the guy's perspective, which was...
Yeah, it was definitely more
oriented.
Centered.
Yes. And then Rachel Bilson, she's not even in the opening credits of this episode. She's just like a guest star.
Who was?
Rachel Bilson.
Oh, yeah. She wasn't on contract at first. She was just like, she's just supposed to be like Marissa's ditzy friend who maybe you see once in a while.
Yeah, see, because I haven't watched the show since it ended, so when I was watching this and...
Yeah, neither have I. There were things I forgot. Or they're just like, my memory's a little fuzzy on things just because I haven't watched, because I haven't gotten the DVDs. Like, it's one of those shows I'm like, oh, I really want to get DVDs to rewatch, and then I just haven't.
Yeah, and this wasn't a show that I always, like, I didn't feel like it needed to be rewatched. It went away, and then I forgot about it. But when I watched it last night... It was
like a show that I felt like if I was going to rewatch it, it was going to need space.
Like 10 years.
It was going to need time between when it ended and when I went back to it.
Yeah, and I watched an episode last night. Yes, I watched this episode last night, and I was, like, trying not to watch the rest of the show.
Yeah, well, because, it was like last week I went and watched the pilot off the CW Seed, and the only reason I haven't binged, like, the entire first season so far is because I don't want to use all the data on my phone.
Can you, like, maybe... you can purchase it off iTunes, because that's how I watched this episode, because I couldn't get that CW Seed thing to work.
I'm trying not to spend all my money on iTunes, because I've bought a lot of stuff off iTunes.
Oh, I understand.
So I'm like, let's just slow it down, keep it to the important stuff.
Well, because
like
sometimes...
Quantico.
Well, because sometimes you're watching something and you're like, oh, it's only $2. I'll get another episode. And then at the end of the week, you realize you spent like $40.
Yeah, exactly.
So, some interesting facts that I read about the show earlier today when I was making my notes. All right, the role of Marissa Cooper, who's played by Misha Barton, it was originally down to Misha Barton and Olivia Wilde.
Wow.
And didn't
Olivia Wilde later guest star as Marissa's lesbian girlfriend?
Yeah, she was Alex in the second season. But
yeah,
they ended up going with Misha because she seemed like someone who needed more saving and who looked trapped. And Olivia Wilde, she just looked like a tough, strong girl, which is true.
Yeah.
So
very true.
So this show...
Considering what a hot mess Misha Barton turned out to be.
Oh, she definitely looks like someone who needs saving.
Yeah. Now,
all these years, so spoiler alert, the character of Marissa Cooper dies in the third season, and it pretty much ended the show, basically. And so I always thought that she was fired from the show. That was the impression that I always had. And is that the impression that you had?
Yeah, especially because she went and spoiled her death.
Yeah, she was on, like, The View or Oprah or something, or, like, Ellen, and, like, said, my character's gonna die in the season finale, and people, like, didn't believe it, and then she ended up dying.
Yeah.
But, so...
I know my roommate at the time of the season finale, that season finale, she was like, well, they're just saying that to throw us off. And I'm like, actors don't go on talk shows and announce their characters are dying if they're not dying.
Yeah. So I was reading an interview with Josh Schwartz, the creator of the show, earlier, and he basically debunked that rumor, and he said that she was not really fired from the show. It was more of a creative decision because I guess when the fourth season was starting, Fox had a new president, or like at the end of the third season, and he, I guess, didn't like the OC, and it was in danger of being canceled, so they had to kind of do like something creative to like shuffle up the show and kind of move it into a new direction. So they decided to just kill off Marissa's character, and I guess like Marissa was with Rachel Bilson, or Misha was with Rachel Bilson when they found out, and I guess they had this like cry together, and they were just bawling their eyes out. And
interesting.
So I don't know if that's true, like that's just what he says or not. I mean, I I kind of always got the impression that Misha Barton was like a nightmare to work with. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, that's the impression I got too.
Is
that she was just a terror.
Well,
and that's because she was part of that group. That, like, Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, Lindsay Lohan, we're going to go out partying all the time, get trashed, go drunk driving, end up in all the tabloids. She was part of that clique.
Was Nicole Richie, like, part of that, though? Like, I didn't think she was that damaged.
Yeah.
No, I don't... Yeah. I know she, like, hung out with them, but... You're like... It's not like a barking dog.
Yeah, she was part of that.
Well, I know she hung out with them, but I thought she was more stable than the others, but I could be wrong.
No.
All right, cite some articles.
Like, all 4 of them were arrested for DUIs at one point.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, Paris Hilton, went to jail.
I'm pretty sure they all, served some sort of time.
I don't think Nicole Richie went to jail, though. Paris Hilton definitely, and Lindsay Lohan, 600 times. But I think Nicole Richie's been, a free woman, though.
I think she did, a 45-minute stint in jail or something.
She got arrested, and they called her, a lawyer, and she was out.
No, more you get your sentencing, which is, 6 months or something. But they cycle you through because of overcrowding, and you're done in 45 minutes. Oh,
okay. Because I know Paris Hilton did hard time, and by hard time I mean a weekend.
Yeah, she did a weekend. Oh my god. Okay, so about this Paris Hilton thing. Supposedly, when she got out of prison, she went to a resort in Colorado where I was working.
Were you working there at the time?
I wasn't working there at the time. I was an employee at the time, but I wasn't working those days that she was supposedly there.
Oh.
And I was kind of if Paris Hilton's coming to Colorado, she's not going to this dinky resort. She's going to go to the really expensive one.
Well, maybe she was trying to hide out.
True.
We could have had some, Paris Hilton gossip right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where has Paris Hilton been? She kind of fell off the radar.
No, she's still there. People just don't talk about her as much.
Yeah, she kind of went away.
She still does stuff. She pops out. She's DJing or something.
Oh yeah. She's an iPod DJ, right? In Los Angeles somewhere.
Yeah, or something like she still does stuff, but the paparazzi are too busy with the Kardashians.
Yeah. Do you know what I am ashamed to admit? I kind of remember when Paris Hilton came out with an album.
Wait, what?
Remember when Paris Hilton came out with an album? She performed a singing album? Remember that song Stars Are Blind? I kind of like that song.
Wait, you actually listened?
I actually bought it off iTunes a year ago.
Okay, I am judging you so hard right now.
Do you know the song?
Maybe heard parts of it. It was what is this crap?
Hold on, I'm gonna play it because it kind of sounds like a Blondie song for some reason. But I'm gonna play an excerpt of it. Sounds a little funky, right?
It sounds like a rejected Lindsay Lohan song.
Spending some time just hanging here with you, 'cause I don't find too many.
It is better than Heidi Montag, or whatever her name was.
It's actually not that bad, but I remember there was a rumor though that she didn't actually sing the song. It was somebody else that sang the song.
Yeah, probably. It was probably Lindsay Lohan.
No, that doesn't really sound... It actually sounds like a trained singer, but... But then we always forget there's auto-tune and computerized technology.
That's true.
But I do like that song. I'm afraid to admit it, but I do.
Well, you've just admitted it to the entire world.
Or 40 people that'll listen to this episode.
Hey, you never know what episode's going to be the one that blows up.
It could be this one.
It could be the one where you admit your love for Paris Hilton's music.
That song, not the whole album, just that one track.
Uh-huh.
And it's not that bad. I mean, I've known other people who have said they liked it, so...
Okay.
So I'm not going to let myself... I'm not going to beat myself down for that one. All right, so should we get into the episode, or do we have any other OC tidbits to talk about?
Not unless you want to talk more shit about Misha Barton.
I'm sure we will, because her character, Marissa, does a lot of horrible things in this episode, so we'll probably...
God, Marissa is the worst.
See, but this was like early Marissa, where you still kind of thought she was a damsel in distress.
Yeah.
This was not...
Like, I feel like this is kind of a point... This has to be kind of the turning point where you realize, no, she's really just fucked up.
Yeah, this was also where she first meets the character of Oliver.
Fucking Oliver.
Which is probably the first of many mistakes this show has made.
Yeah.
Like, this is the first...
I totally forgot that asshole was in this episode. I was watching and I'm like, fuck.
I had a feeling it was going to be this episode because they kept talking about she had to go see a shrink, and I was like, I believe she meets Oliver at a shrink, but I'm like, this is a Christmas episode. They're not going to just unleash him in the Christmas episode, and it's like the final scene, and they just decide to throw him in it.
Yeah. Suddenly, there's this weird guy who knows just a little too much about Marissa.
Yeah, and like
at the shrink.
So it's the first creative bump of the show, because they have this like excellent run. You know, they have the gang's like first time together. It ends with the Tijuana trip, which is referenced like 100 times in this episode.
Yeah.
And
well, that's because Marissa like ODs and Ryan has to carry her to like safety.
Yeah. It probably would have been a smart move if they would have just like offed her character at that point in time, because she never really came back from that moment.
She didn't. She just got worse. And
so for a character, she's supposed to be like this raging alcoholic. She does painkillers. In this episode, when they're at like the Newport group Christmas party, she literally has like 3 sips of alcohol, and Ryan's like, "You're drunk, Marissa."
No, she does more than 3 sips, because she goes into the bathroom and she pours like probably like 3 or 4 shots worth of vodka.
But
into her cup.
Were they drinking before that, though?
Chugging it down.
Were they drinking before that, though?
No, Brian was not drinking.
And I don't think
Marissa stole the bottle from her dad's liquor cabinet, because, you know, the smartest thing you can do when you have a child who can't control themselves around alcohol is keep it in an unlocked cabinet.
Yeah, but do you know what I noticed, though, was that the vodka bottle was like half empty when she took it out of the cabinet, and then later on in the episode it was more full.
Well, that's just like a prop thing.
Yeah, but that's why I was surprised that Marissa was as drunk as Ryan was saying she was, because I was like, you know what, she
like drank it fast too.
Okay, but she took like I don't know. I don't think she was as drunk as Ryan made her out to be, though.
She was pretty drunk.
I don't know. She didn't look drunk, and all she did was she wanted to dance, and Ryan's like, "You're drunk, Marissa."
Well, one, she's a girl who's already in trouble for getting drunk. She just got in trouble earlier that day for shoplifting.
Oh, yeah. All right,
you forgot the shoplifting, which is like one of your favorite TV things ever.
My favorite TV trope is shoplifting episodes. So not only do we get a Christmas episode, but we also get a Christmas/shoplifting episode. But I felt like the shoplifting like plot was quickly brushed aside, though.
Yeah, it's just like a symptom of her deeper issues, really.
It wasn't like they didn't really dwell on it. Like, she got in trouble from the security guard at the mall, and then they immediately dropped the charges.
Yeah.
And she had like legitimate stuff. She had like an expensive watch, maybe some like some hoop errands.
Yeah, she had like a lot of nice things. She did not just like take a Wet n Wild nail polish. She took like expensive stuff.
Yeah, there's a part where they're like Ryan and Marissa are at the jewelry booth, and they're like looking at watches. And I was trying to figure out how she would have taken that without the clerk noticing, because it was one of those watches that they have to, like, the clerk actually has to pull it out of the drawer.
Yeah.
and display it. And then like Ryan put it on. It's not like Vicky from Small Wonder was there and just
like flipped open the thing when nobody was looking.
That's a callback to a previous episode for new listeners.
You can find it on iTunes, YouTube, and our website.
Yes. And why didn't the store have any kind of security device that was on the watch either, even though it was in the case? Because I used to work in retail at like a department store that like the one they were at, like kind of like a Macy's.
Yeah.
And even though the stuff were in the case, there was definitely like, especially on the watches, there was some kind of security device that was just
Yeah, there's like the little chip magnet thing on the back, right?
Yeah, and you gotta like, you need some special pen to take it off. It's only like connected to the cash register. Mm-hmm. And to get behind the booth, you had to like open the case up, and there was just security cameras everywhere. So I don't know. I guess it was just a simple plot device because they just wanted to depict Marissa's downward spiral.
Yeah, just show that Marissa is this messed up white upper class girl with no impulse control.
Yeah, and she tries to cite her parents' marriage failing as part of the problem, which, I mean, that's probably part of the symptoms, but I mean, look at her mom though, Julie Cooper, who ends up becoming like a wonderful character on the show.
Yeah.
She is just kind of like, she doesn't care about Marissa at all, it seems like. She never paid attention to her. Maybe Marissa became a teenager and she just didn't care. Plus, there's Caitlin Cooper, who they just send away to like some boarding school after the second episode.
They just send Caitlin away. We'll see her years later, like right before Marissa dies.
Yeah, so Caitlin Cooper, I think she's in the first episode or the first two episodes?
She's in like the first couple episodes, and then she's just like off in boarding school. How the heck are they paying for all this if Jimmy has no money?
Yeah, Jimmy lost a job because he's just...
He was embezzling. He was Ponzi scheming.
and Julie takes off. I mean, I guess Caleb could have been paying for it, though.
Oh, yeah, you know what? I think Caleb was paying for it.
Yeah, probably. But, so the original Caitlin Cooper is played by Shailene Woodley, who we know from The Secret Life of American Teenager and the Divergent movie.
And The Fault in Our Stars.
She disappears after the pilot because I guess, the creators of the show just said, she was really younger than everyone else. They would never have storylines for her, and they didn't want to just, keep having her pop up, so they just kind of, wrote her off. But then they have her come back years later, and she's played by Willa Holland, who kind of did her own thing with the character.
Yeah.
And it actually, she ended up being much better than Marissa.
Oh, yeah. Caitlin, way cooler than Marissa.
Yeah, because normally, late in a show's run, they'll introduce, a new character. Buffy the Vampire Slayer brought in Dawn, and the character just sucked. Mm-hmm. But they brought in Caitlin Cooper, and she was actually, an interesting character.
Well, what's-her-face? Taylor was way cooler, too.
Taylor Townsend?
Yes.
Yeah, she was kind of like a third season nemesis of the other two girls, of Summer and Marissa, I guess. Yeah. And I guess after Marissa's death, they just needed to fill that void, so they upgraded... What's her name? Autumn Reeser? Yep, so they upgraded her role, and she was a good fit. They kind of were making her, she was into Ryan, but Ryan was... it was a weird relationship, and then they end up kind of getting together at the end, so I guess it works out.
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? If Marissa had lived, her and Ryan would have never ended up together.
Oh, no. Ryan would have been miserable with Marissa. Miserable. She was just a hot mess. She was a bigger mess than his mother, and his mother was a mess. And that was the last thing this kid needed. Yeah,
well, I mean, I guess he is drawn to that kind of energy because I guess he wanted to save her.
Yeah, he wanted to save Marissa.
But...
because he couldn't really save his mother.
She's just a tragic character that is just unsavable.
Yeah.
And, alright, so... did we even start the episode, or are we just kind of like throwing random?
Barely.
All right, so should we
I
go?
just went on this random like OC tangent.
Should we go in order of the episode, or should we just kind of like mention plot points?
Just like kind of go to plot points, like
All right.
the introduction of Chrismukkah.
All right, so I guess because it's Christmas season and we're doing like a bonus Christmas episode, we should kind of tie in the
Talk
Christmas.
about the Christmas part.
Yeah, so there's Chrismukkah, which is this like fake holiday that Seth Cohen invented. It's kind of like Hanukkah and Christmas combined. Obviously, you can figure it out.
Yeah.
Because Sandy Cohen, Sandoval Cohen, Seth's dad, is Jewish. And Kirsten Cohen, is non-Jewish. Is she Christian? What are they?
She's Christian. I believe they refer to her as Catholic.
Okay, so she's like a Catholic girl. And I believe the Cohens are the only Jews in town. That's what I kind of gathered.
I don't think they were the only Jews. I just think it was more maybe the only interfaith marriage.
Okay. So because I kind of got the impression that Seth struggled growing up, so he kind of created this Uber holiday.
Well, I think part of it is that Sandy and Kristen, neither of them are like gung-ho. Like, Sandy's not like, we're Jewish, you know? And Kristen's not like, we're Catholic. You know, they weren't just like majorly gung-ho on the whole religion thing. So they didn't really know what they wanted to like give Seth religion-wise. So they kind of just did both Christmas and Hanukkah. And Seth was like, let's merge them together and make a super holiday like the nerdy little kid he is.
Yeah, because he's witty and he just thinks of these dumb things. So instead of Hanimus, we get Chrismukkah. And so
it's the best of both worlds. You get Jesus and Moses both looking out for you.
And just like Christmas, there are Chrismukkah miracles.
There are.
And all right, so Seth is really trying to sell the idea of Chrismukkah to Ryan, who I guess always has a hard time around the holidays because his mom was a raging alcoholic. His brother was just never there. And Christmas basically always ended with Ryan's mother drunk at passed out by noon, and lots of fights. Lots of fights with the brother.
Get stalled or something like that.
And the cops were probably there. There was probably an argument with a neighbor.
Yeah, so they're not good Christmas memories.
No, so Ryan has no Christmas memories, so Seth is just kind of he wants to create this first magical Chrismukkah for Ryan, but Ryan is just he'd rather just forget about everything. He'll go along with it.
Ryan's not there for the holidays. He's just okay, whatever, guys.
He might.
And Seth is that kid who is probably counting down the days until Christmas. He's probably he's got the holiday sweaters. He's the one who's kind of gung-ho about getting the holiday decorations up and everything.
Yeah, and Sandy Sandy originally had to work because I guess he's a lawyer and he has dealings with Kirsten's father, who I guess runs the Newport Group.
Yeah.
And this is the infamous Landale episode.
Yes, it's the land deal.
I remember just watching this whole show when it first came out, and I never understood any of this storyline involving the Landale.
Uh-huh.
I just thought, maybe I'm too young, I don't understand what Landales are, but now I'm 34 years old, and I still have no idea what they're talking about.
I kind of get the impression that what happened was there was this land that Caleb got for cheap, and he found out he couldn't build on it because of seismic activity or something. And so he was trying to sell it to conservative. Even though it really wasn't worth millions of dollars. I could be totally wrong. It went over my head a little bit too. I was like, I need information before I could really understand this.
And then Kirsten finds, she works for the Newport Group. She works for her father, and I guess she's working from home that day because it's Chrismukkah.
She got fed up with her dad. She's just I'm taking a vacation.
Yeah, because
But she can't really, take a vacation, so she's, working from home.
And she has all these...
doesn't know how to take a vacation.
She has all these files, and they're just like... They're paper files that she's going through, and she just looks at a piece of paper, and she looks puzzled for a moment. You know, like, as a television watcher, you know that she's, like, found something really shocking. Because, like, 2 seconds before that, Sandy was just kind of, like, talking about how... Pretty much comparing Caleb to the devil, like, to being the devil.
Yeah.
So Kirsten finds this document, and I guess she calls up the office, and she's like, "Oh, can you fax me over the rest of the files?"
Well, I think she calls the group that did the report.
Okay. And so
and asks for the file, because she knows if she calls the office, whoever her dad had in charge of that is not going to send her the file.
But someone faxed her the file, though. Didn't someone fax her the file?
Yeah, someone faxed her. Someone, I think, from the company that did the
research
analysis on the land.
Okay, so the company that found out that the land was built on unstable land, I guess? Or so maybe the land is unstable. And the Newport group wanted to buy the land and probably build, like, property on it that would be worth millions.
Yeah, want to build like condos or more multi-million-dollar homes.
Or like a shopping mall. Who knows?
Yeah.
And, alright, so the land was probably not safe, but Caleb probably, like, just took that paperwork and just, like, put it at the bottom of a drawer, never expected anyone to find it. Kirsten, found it, and, alright, so she's afraid to tell Sandy, but she ends up showing him anyway. And, alright, so he's
she's like, I'm going to lose. Because here's the thing. Kristen, you know, there are times where she's torn. She's torn between being the good daughter and working with her father, because she has this, like, she has this sense of responsibility to, you know, be the one to take over the company one day or whatever. Because remember, her sister is kind of a flake.
Yes. And
there's no brothers, so she kind of has that, like, pressure. But then she also has the pressure to do the right thing. She's with Sandy, who, can we be real, Sandy's, like, the greatest guy ever.
Yeah, he's probably one of the best TV dads of all time. I mean, and
Sandy Cohen is, like, top 3 TV dads.
Yeah, and do you know what, like, the adult characters on the show, they're not as marginal as, like, the parents from 90210, like, as Jim and Cindy. They actually, like, share the storylines equally, or maybe even, like, more at some points, because I know that...
Yeah, I remember that kind of happened on Gossip Girl as well, which was also by Josh Schwartz.
Yeah, they kind of... I wouldn't say, like, 50-50. I'd probably say that the parents probably, like, had... Like, the adult characters probably had, like, a lot of storyline, too, especially in, like, the second season when they kind of did that... They tried to do that rift between Sandy and Kirsten.
Yeah.
And they brought in Billy Campbell, and then I think Sandy had an old girlfriend or some other woman that came along.
Yeah, there was, like, an ex of his that showed up, too.
Yeah. So, like...
But even then, Sandy Cohen is still, like, probably one of the greatest TV dads. Definitely top 3.
And then even Julie Cooper, who you thought was just kind of like a one-trick pony, she ends up evolving to become kind of like a decent character. I think the only one who really got the shit end of the stick, though, was Tate Donovan, Jimmy Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it was the actor's decision to leave, or they just kind of wrote him off.
I think it was a creative decision.
Yeah, well, they basically made him a criminal in, like, the first episode.
Yeah, they made him a criminal, and then then he just became this guy who couldn't get a job and couldn't get his shit together. And
he, like, lived on a boat for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, he ends up living in a boat. I think he and Julie have an affair, and then Julie's like, you know what? I can't do this shit.
Yeah. Well, was Julie still married to Caleb, or was Caleb, like, off by this point?
I think it was, like, right before Caleb died.
Yeah. You know what I always remember is Caleb ended up going on to being, like, a bad guy in Lost, too.
I know. Every time he would show up on Lost, I'd be like, Caleb. And my boyfriend at the time would be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm like, one day we're going to rewatch the OC and you'll understand.
It'll all fall into place.
But we never did.
Landale or no Landale.
Yeah.
So Sandy saves the Landale because Kirsten's worried that, if she gives this information to Sandy and Sandy confronts Caleb, that not only will Sandy basically lose her father, she'll also lose her job. But Sandy kind of Sandy and Caleb are giving a speech at this like Newport group party. And Sandy has this like brilliant idea where he's just going to put Caleb on the spot. So he just offers to buy the land for $1. Was that it?
Yeah, for $1, and then they do this presentation at the party that makes Caleb sound like this great, generous guy for giving the land up for only $1. Yeah,
so, I mean, I think deep down Caleb knew that it would probably end up coming to bite him in the ass, but he probably figured he'd be dead by this point. He'd be dead by this point.
Caleb was not an idiot.
Yeah, so.
Caleb understood. And I think that's probably why he didn't like Sandy, because he knew Sandy was like this positive, good guy who was going to like force him to do good things.
But Sandy ended up saving his ass, though, basically.
What Sandy does.
Like, Sandy saved his ass. He probably didn't realize it at the time, but, because, I don't know, the big one hasn't hit California yet, but someday it's going to happen, and Caleb's land is just going to slide down into the ocean.
Exactly.
Actually, I believe in, like, the last 2 or 3 episodes of the OC, isn't there, like, a big earthquake?
Yes, I believe there is.
I believe it's the catalyst that sends the Cohens packing to Berkeley in the final episode.
Yeah, they move to Berkeley. Don't they have like a baby or something?
Yeah, Kiki gets knocked up.
Yeah.
Sandy still has some swimmers in his sack.
They just needed a long break after Seth, let's be real.
Yeah,
before they had another kid.
Yeah, Seth was just probably too much of a handful.
I know they make Seth out to be like this nerdy loner, but he was pretty hyperactive.
Yeah, and plus, in this episode, he tries to juggle 2 ladies. Rachel Bilson and Summer.
Seth, who, can barely talk to a girl, is trying to juggle 2 girls.
And then, I think Ryan is Seth, you need to, come up with a decision. And Seth is literally this has never happened to me before.
Everybody is telling Seth he has to make a decision.
But
it's just no, they're both going to get the Seth Cohen starter pack. It'll be okay. I don't have to make up my mind just yet. Not until after Chrismukkah.
To be fair, though, Seth has never, this has never happened to him before. He's never had...
Seth has never had a girlfriend before, let alone 2 girls...
pining over him.
Fighting over him.
Yeah.
Going to great lengths to impress him.
And he gets these,
these 2 girls are.
2, typical, stereotypical hot chicks that are after him.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't know what to do, so he decides that he's going to play the field. So he gets them the same Chrismukkah present, which I guess is like a mix CD that he makes. And
it's several CDs, and it's a couple of DVDs of they're his favorite things.
The Goonies is one of the movies.
Yeah.
So he gets them the same thing because, I guess maybe it's a test. He's going to, figure out which of the 2 like the gift more.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the reason behind Seth Cohen's starter pack.
When I first saw this years ago, and even when I was watching it last night, that was kind of the impression that I got.
Yeah, it was kind of we'll see how they react to the gift, because, if they don't like Death Cab for Cutie, what am I doing with them?
And even though Seth didn't reveal that information to Ryan, only because Ryan didn't ask, I'm sure deep down that is what Seth believed.
Yeah, but stuff happens, and Seth ends up giving those presents to his parents.
Yes, so what ends up happening, so Seth is going to the Newport group party, and he brings both Anna and Summer as dates.
Well, they were supposed to meet him there because it's not supposed to be... It's kind of the same thing as Kelly, Brenda, and Dylan.
Where
they're not supposed to be dating anybody. They're just friends. But, the guy's going to have to make a decision.
And both Kelly and Brenda have their own, hidden agendas.
Exactly.
So what ends up happening, so Anna decides that she's gonna, instead of going to the party by herself, she shows up at the Cohen residence with mistletoe and surprises Seth. And
Yep.
So Seth's like, all right, I guess we can just go together. That's no problem. Summer will just meet her there. But then there's a knock at the door.
Yes, it is. It's Summer with mistletoe.
And Summer and Anna basically look at each other like, okay, and they kind of go along with it. So they are like, all right, let's just all go together. So they're just kind of like chilling on the couch, waiting for Kiki and Sandy to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
And so now they're at the party, and so both Anna and Summer have presents to give Seth.
To Seth, yes.
All right, so Anna is the first to give Seth her present, which it ends up being a homemade comic book about Seth Cohen and Captain Oates.
Yes.
Now, Captain Oates is a pony, from what I remember.
Yes, Captain Oates is like this pony figurine that Seth has in his room.
Like kind of like a My Little Pony.
No, it's like more like a Breyer horse. Do you know what a Breyer horse is?
Not a clue.
Okay, they are these horse figurine, like they're toy horses. But they're modeled after like actual horses, like racing horses and stuff.
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about now. And you know what? I remember seeing it in the show now. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of like what it is. And yes, I do have several of those sitting in my storage unit right now. Yeah, so that's what Anna gives him. It's a homemade comic based on Seth and Captain Oates. It's really cute. It's really sweet. It's different.
It's an original
and then
unique gift.
also has a gift for Seth.
And all right, so they sneak off at the Newport group party. It must be at a hotel because they go to a room.
Actually, I think it is Caleb's house.
Oh, it's Caleb's house?
Yes, because earlier in the episode when Kristen stopped by, she was kind of like put off that Julie didn't put the Christmas tree in the foyer like her mother used to.
Oh, that's right, so Kiki... All right, so another weird connection between everyone. So Kiki and Jimmy Cooper were boyfriend and girlfriend in like high school?
Yeah, they were like high school sweethearts.
And something happened, and Jimmy ended up with Julie Cooper.
Yeah, basically Jimmy ends up with Julie because he knocks her up.
Yeah, Kirsten never really got along with Julie. They just kind of like went along with the flow, and they ended up being neighbors.
Yeah, because like she and Jimmy stayed friends. Like whatever reason they broke up, they were like, we're still friends. So you kind of get the idea that Jimmy's always been in love with Kirsten.
And it kind of like seemed like they were moving towards that, but it never really happened.
Yeah, there's like some lingering feelings on Kirsten's side, but she is definitely in love with Sandy.
And isn't it really awkward that the Coopers and the Cohens end up living next door to each other just to kind of like further add to this mess?
I think that was one of those things Jimmy did, was buy the house next door.
He's a romantic at heart.
Yeah.
Now, didn't like an episode of Gossip Girl like take place in the 80s one time, and they had Jimmy, like a young Jimmy and Kirsten in it? Or was that like their plan?
Oh my god, I don't remember. I just remember it was young Lily and Rufus. I
vaguely remember like reading that they eventually like wanted to eventually do a spin-off of Gossip Girl that took place in the 80s, and
the episode that takes place in the 80s, that flashback episode, was supposed to be the backdoor pilot.
Yeah, and
the WB, CW, or whatever didn't pick it up.
I think their eventual plan though was to have like a teenage Kirsten and Jamie like as like secondary characters.
Oh, interesting.
Which would have just connected those worlds.
Yeah.
But all right, so the party's at Caleb's house, so that's probably why Seth and Summer sneak off into like a room, like a bedroom.
They sneak off into a room. And Summer starts undoing her dress, and Seth is like, oh my god, what's going on? He's like freaking out. And Summer reveals that she is dressed as Wonder Woman.
She's
under the dress.
So this is like 2003. This is like at the start of superhero movies. So like you basically had probably X-Men and Spider-Man at this point.
Yeah.
And I just remember there was this huge craze, and I remember like TV Guide and like Entertainment Weekly were like, we need to have Rachel Bilson as Wonder Woman in like the Wonder Woman movie, and there was this like huge demand for more Rachel Bilson as Wonder Woman.
Well, she looked so good in that costume.
She did. Like, even though it was like a cheesy Wonder Woman costume, she definitely looked the part.
Yeah.
She had the long black hair.
Yeah, the only thing is that Wonder Woman is supposed to be like an Amazon.
Like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, and Rachel Bilson is like 5 feet tall.
They definitely could have like used movie magic to portray her that way. It's
That's
like
true. They
like,
could have.
Like Tom Cruise is like 3 feet tall, and he's some action hero sometimes.
That's true.
And then, interestingly enough, though, they had like a couple years ago, David E. Kelly did like a Wonder Woman TV pilot, and it was Adrian Palicki was Wonder Woman. Did you ever see that?
No, I didn't.
It was really bad, but it probably had potential.
Yeah, probably. Didn't they finally cast the Wonder Woman for like the Batman Superman movie?
Yeah, like, but she's like not really like the Wonder Woman from the comics. She looks different. She doesn't have the colorful costume.
Ugh.
It's like
Give me a real Wonder Woman.
It's dark and grim. Yeah, I don't think it'll work.
Oh, I'm sick of the dark and grim crap.
I don't think it'll work. Well,
I think that's why I don't like the DC movies very much. It's 'cause
Yeah.
they're all so dark.
like, I feel like they're not like the Marvel movies. Definitely, like, they go for the looks of the characters and kind of like the feel of the comics. But I don't know. I mean, there's only been like a few DC comic movies, so
True, but they all have that like just dark tone to them.
yeah, like the color is weird. Like the color of the movie.
Yeah,
Like
like
the-
everything's washed out.
Like the sky is like grayish at all times.
hmm
And like I don't know, it's almost like that Adele video where everything's like sepia tones.
Yes,
Like it's
exactly.
It's one Instagram filter away from being the Adele video.
Oh my God, yes.
Should that be a soundbite?
Maybe.
All right, so
I don't know.
Summer reveals her Wonder Woman costume, and at that moment she takes the lasso and she kind of like lassos Seth up, and I guess Anna was trying to find Seth and Summer, so she's like, I'm just gonna go upstairs and just like walk into random rooms to find them.
Yeah.
So she just comes into the room.
That's totally what you want to do in the OC, because it's not like there's chance that there are married people having affairs at a party.
No, but like even if like I was at a party and I was just like looking for one of my friends, I'd be like, oh, have you seen like Seth? And then someone's like, oh, he went upstairs. I'd be like, okay, like I'm not gonna just like roam this house looking for him. I'll just like chill down by the bar maybe, or just find someone else. Like
Or by the pool.
yeah, and like she must know Ryan and Marissa, so I'm like maybe I'll go find Ryan and Marissa, or at least Ryan.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody really wants to find Marissa.
No, Marissa's in the bathroom chugging booze.
Yeah, she's like doubting. Who knows how much? She just chugs that thing. And she's like, got that look like, oh, this tastes so nasty. And I'm thinking, should have just chugged the vodka straight, girl.
Yeah, she mixed it with
Used
like
your soda as a chaser.
This was kind of like the point that I was going. All right, so Marissa, like, they established that she has a problem with alcohol. If you have like that much of a problem with alcohol, you're definitely used to the taste by that point, I think.
Yeah.
Like, you don't take like a chug of vodka mixed with Coca-Cola and then just make a girl's face.
Okay, let's be real. It was also probably Diet Coke, so it tasted extra nasty.
You know what though? I think Diet Coke is a better mixer than regular Coke. I don't know why.
Okay, well, there are some people like me who the aspartame or like those artificial sweeteners, they leave a bitter taste.
Okay.
So like I can't anything that has like not a non-sugar sweetener tastes bitter to me. It doesn't taste sweet.
Oh, okay. And would you mix vodka with Coca-Cola or Pepsi? I mean, I would if I was 17.
Maybe like early on in college, but even then, if I was mixing a vodka with a Coke, I was mixing like vanilla vodka with cherry Coke.
Yeah, like I guess when you're young, you don't really understand the mixology of alcohol, because Marissa's only, 15 or 16 at this point? Probably 16.
She's got to be 16 because she's got a car.
Oh, yeah. Which she crashes.
Oh, God.
So, you would think, though, like, if Marissa's supposed to be this expert drinker, she would have definitely gotten, like, a tonic, and maybe would have gotten, like, a vodka tonic.
Yeah.
I don't know. All right, so, should we
But I guess because she's at the party and she's a kid, she's probably only able to get, like, Coca-Cola or whatever.
Okay, wait, I mean, I guess if you're a kid, though, you can still go up and get tonic water. Or, like, soda water, at least. You can get, like, seltzer. Or even, like, a Sprite. I think, like, vodka and Sprite would go more together than Coke.
Because of the citrus, yeah.
Yeah, what do I know, though? Who knows?
What do we know?
Yeah. Or Marissa could have just, like, I don't know, grabbed multiple bottles of alcohol from her father's liquor cabinet and threw it in her purse, so she could have had, like, her own little mini bar.
If she'd had a bigger purse, I'm sure she would have had even more.
If she had stolen a bigger purse from the store earlier, she definitely could have had, like, better choices. Instead, she had this, like, dumb little purse. Like, it was like a clutch bag, pretty much.
She just had a little clutch, yeah.
And it looked like it could barely fit, like, even, like one of those little bottles of booze. Like, it barely could fit a nip, but she somehow, like, squeezed that bottle of vodka in there.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm like, how else is she going to fit in her wallet, her keys, and her cell phone?
In her pager?
Well, I think, no, they had cell phones.
That's true. But, like, she probably had, like, other shit in there, too, like lip gloss and, like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's probably some lipstick. And whatever else.
Painkillers.
A teenage girl. Yeah, probably a bottle of painkillers.
A little baggie of Coke.
Did Marissa ever do Coke?
No, but Misha Barton probably did.
Please don't sue us, Misha Barton, if you ever hear this.
She's not listening to this. She's like in England or something right now. We have
nothing.
Did you know that Misha Barton was originally from England?
Yes, I learned that today. I had no idea.
So she didn't live here until she was like a little bit older, and I guess she eventually just became a citizen.
Like 5 and her dad got transferred to an office in New York.
Yeah, so then she got into modeling, I guess, and then the natural route.
She got into modeling and acting. She was on All My Children. In fact, I believe she played the same character Michelle Trachtenberg played.
So this, I always assumed that the OC was Misha's first role.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't. She had a bunch of roles.
Okay. I thought, like, she was just kind of like a teen model. She did, like, maybe, like, CoverGirl or, like, Teen Vogue or something. And
I think she mainly modeled, but she definitely did acting.
Like, that was her ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I know, she landed the OC, and then she did, like, a bunch of shitty, like, direct-to-DVD movies after that.
Yeah.
And then she played a prostitute on an episode of Law & Order SVU, I remember. And then, remember when, like, she had that CW show that was on for, like, one episode? The TBL.
The Beautiful Life.
Yeah. You know you've made a bad decision when the CW cancels your show after one episode.
That's bad. Actually, it was 2 episodes.
Was it 2 episodes?
It was 2 episodes.
Okay, because
I think I know a guy who worked on the show.
Because the CW usually, like, at least will, like, air all the episodes they filmed before they even just, like, end the show.
Yeah, because it's the CW. It's not like they have a stash of other shows to put on. Like, even now, from what I'm reading, that, like, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend show is only still on because the CW doesn't have anything else to put on in its place right now.
Oh, yeah, like, because that's why Heart of Dixie ran for, like, 4 years.
Heart of Dixie was freaking amazing, and Rachel Bilson was perfect as Dr. Zoe Hart.
I know it was a good show, but it was very low rated, and it just...
It was, and I think part of it is the CW has become very masculine superhero with their shows.
They're moving away from the Stephanie Savage, Josh Schwartz type shows that
they're moving away from the soapy stuff like you had with One Tree Hill or Gossip Girl or Heart of Dixie.
Or to a lesser extent, Hellcats.
I never watched that one.
You know what I'm talking, like the cheerleader show? Like, they were just so many...
Yeah, but I know what you're talking about.
There was so many shows like this that were just on the CW and WB for so many years.
Mm-hmm.
That just kept going. Like last week we talked about Seventh Heaven. It just went on for like 12 years or something. One Tree Hill.
Seventh Heaven, they kept Seventh Heaven for that extra season to like bridge the audience.
Yeah. And it's weird though, because like shows like Veronica Mars got canceled pretty much like right away.
Yeah.
But
Supernatural is still on.
Oh yeah, that's like still going. That's gonna be on. That's gonna be like the new Simpsons.
It's been on for over a decade, hasn't it?
Yeah, like I think it's like on like its 11th or 12th year. Like and Smallville was on for fucking ever too.
Yeah.
And that show just got like...
There's a part where it's like, when the hell does this guy turn into Superman already, for crying out loud?
Well, Smallville was weird because it was never really a good show. But, like, sometimes it would have good, like arcs of episodes that would get, like, spikes in the ratings. And it would just kind of, like, keep the show alive.
Smallville was one of those shows that I would, like, pop into for, like, a few weeks and then pop out of.
Yeah, because, like, it would get interesting, and then that storyline would end, and then it would just quickly go downhill, and you're like, why did I start watching this show? But then like 2 years later you'd pop back into it, and not much would change. Like everything would always stay the same pretty much.
Yeah, like there's a point where I was just like, he should be Superman by now. He should be flying around. Why isn't he flying? Yeah,
like Tom Welling was like in his 30s by this point. Like he's not Superboy anymore. He should be Superman. Yeah. Like I think the actor who plays Superman now,
he should be in Metropolis trying to bang Lois Lane by now.
Yeah, and they even brought in Lois Lane, and they even went to Metropolis, but they still did not have Superman.
Yeah.
But, like, they would totally do it now, only because The Flash and Arrow became such a hit for them.
Mm-hmm.
They would, like, quickly bring in Superman, but there must be some kind of, like, rule that you can't have a Superman show on right now, so they had to settle for Supergirl.
The episode of Supergirl I watched was amazing.
Yeah, I watched the first two and they were good, but I'm still not like it's not must-see TV for me yet.
Yeah, I have like the second episode on my laptop from iTunes. I haven't watched it.
Because it took me...
I'm just like, I have like so much other stuff I want to watch.
Yeah, I was thinking
on my iTunes that I'm just like, I'm going to save you...
For like a downtime?
For like maybe when I have cable again and I can get caught up that way.
Yeah, because, like, I remember the Arrow started off kind of slowish, and that's just, I kind of felt the same way about Supergirl, and I just kind of want there to be, like, I just want to wait for there to be, like, 15 episodes so I can just watch them all at once instead of doing it, like, week by week and just not being interested in it, like, following it from week to week. And then...
Because stuff sometimes just makes more sense when you binge it.
Yeah, because you kind of forget things that happen.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. So, where are we in the OC world? We were talking about Summer is Wonder Woman, or Marissa is speeding off in a car.
Well, Summer was dressed as Wonder Woman. Anna comes in, gets all pissy. Both girls are pissy, and they leave. And Seth is like, uh-oh. I'm going to, like, smooth things over tomorrow with the Seth Cohen starter packs, though. Because Seth has his plan.
Do you know what's weird, though, is in a normal, like any other TV show, Summer and Anna would have just, like, fought. Like, they would have just beat the shit out of each other right there.
Yeah.
But
it would have been way bitchier to each other like Brenda or Kelly.
Yeah, but these two characters, they're very evolved, so they're just kind of like, Seth, we don't want to get hurt. You need to make a decision.
We're not, like, we don't want to be, like, in this mess. You've got to pick one of us.
Yeah.
And neither of the girls accept the Seth Cohen starter packs the next day. That's why they end up with Sandy and Kristen. But,
yeah, but
you know,
Seth,
it's better than suddenly getting two cookies, one with an S and one with an A, and being told you need to make a decision.
What is that?
So.
Okay.
But then, and yeah, Marissa is at the party, and she's been drinking. Ryan tries to stop her. She backs her car into another car and puts out her taillight.
And do you know what's funny, though? I think they show the car from behind later on, and the taillight is not broken. Like, when Ryan's driving home.
Of course not.
No, but they get pulled over because the taillight is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And
of course, Marissa, being just the amazing genius that she is, has an open container of alcohol in the car.
Yeah, so before they get pulled over, Marissa pulls the flask of vodka out of her clutch, and she starts like taking sips of it, and Ryan's bullshit. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, you need to put that away.
Ryan is like so done with her shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to put up with the shit, and I don't blame him.
He should have just pulled the car over and just left her there. And
oh god, I kind of wish he did.
Yeah. So they get pulled over.
Before he could, he gets pulled over by the cop.
Yep. And the cop is basically about to bust Marissa because he takes the flashlight, he flashes the light at her legs because Marissa hid the bottle like between her legs. Like on the floor.
And he's got skinny ass legs, so it's not like it's gonna hide much.
Yeah. So he's basically like to Marissa, he's like, you need to step out of the car. And as she's like about to cry or freak out, the cop's radio goes off telling him that all squad cars are needed for some like crazy situation somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're lucky.
It's a Chrismukkah miracle.
Yeah. Seth's like, this is your Chrismukkah miracle. This is like how we tried to sell the holiday on him. Ryan gets pissed. He grabs the bottle from Marissa and he just like throws it. And it was the most like pussyish throw I've ever seen in my life. And I did like the way he threw it was like a soft throw, and I was like, the bottle's not going to break. And then you hear like the sound, like it was just like the sound of like they added in after the fact of probably the bottle breaking. Oh yeah. I was like, there's no way the bottle would have smashed at that. And plus he was like,
he threw it towards the water.
Yeah, and it was like towards grass or the ocean or something. And then you hear this like loud crashing noise. I'm like, even if he did throw it hard enough for the ball to smash, you probably wouldn't have heard it just because it was just such a.
Yeah.
It was a
but then he does that thing where he like opens and slams her door several times and scares the shit out of her.
And yeah, Marissa's like, Ryan, you're scaring me. And then he's all angry. He's like, you're scaring me. And then he like slams the door in her face. And she's such a horrible crier too. Mm-hmm. It looks like someone just like took like water and sprayed it in her face because it wasn't even like tears coming down her eyes. It was just water all over her face.
Yeah.
And her face like wasn't even puffy. Like she had.
Yeah, there's no puffy. It wasn't red. It was just like, hey, here's a bottle. Here's a spray bottle full of water. Yeah.
She was probably, Misha Barton was probably thinking, she's like, fuck, I wonder if there really was alcohol in that. And they just threw it. Was that a prop?
Maybe that was Misha's own bottle.
Yeah, so Marissa, I guess, at this point decides she's going to go to see a shrink, which everyone has been suggesting all episode long, and she's like,
everybody's been like, you need to go see a shrink, because you got to deal with your shit.
Yeah, because
your shit is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, because 3 months ago, you almost died from overdosing on painkillers and booze in Tijuana, and
you're shoplifting, you're getting drunk at the Newport group party, you almost got pulled over for drunk driving. Get your shit together.
Yeah, and she's trying to like make it seem like her life is all together. She's like, I'm in the social chair now. She's like, whatever.
The social chair.
What is the social chair?
The social chair is like basically the person who puts together like the homecoming dance, the prom, the school car, like all those stupid events that they go to, the fashion show. Marissa's in charge.
Is she really in charge, though, or is she just there bossing people around?
I think she is technically the one in charge.
Like, she's probably at the fashion show set up, and she's just, like, off in a corner somewhere drinking out of her flask, while, like, everyone else is probably putting all this shit together and, like, trying to figure out what to do, and they're like, fuck, we have, like, Marissa is our boss of this.
Marissa. I think that's like, isn't that what Taylor wants, is to be the social chair senior year?
Yeah, and like Marissa, they still want to give it to Marissa, even though she like killed her boyfriend by like forcing him to fall off a cliff.
Well, isn't Marissa even at a different school at that point?
Oh, yeah, she goes to like a weird like out-of-town school, right? Like a troubled girl school? Yeah,
like she gets expelled from the private school, so she has to go to public school.
And is that the school where she hangs out with Johnny? Hey, Johnny.
Yeah, that's where she meets Johnny and Chili and whatever.
Johnny's the one that falls off the cliff, right?
Yeah, Johnny's the one that falls off the cliff or whatever. Or the, like, jungle gym or whatever it was.
It was like a sand dune.
Yeah, I just would be like, well, he's gonna die soon.
But was it kind of Marissa's fault, the reason why that he fell off, though? I kind of feel like it was.
I think he was like in love with Marissa, and she didn't return his feelings, and he was screwed up as her, and
he was drunk at the beach, and she was like yelling at him, and then he just he just got so emotionally depressed and depraved that he just like slipped and fell down the dune and died.
Yeah, something like that.
And then, which further continued Marissa's downward spiral into her eventual death.
Well, doesn't she like start to get her shit together?
Sorta. I think that's why she went back to the school that everyone else went to.
Yeah, like, and that's when like Caitlin comes home.
Yeah, I think because Caitlin's kind of like troubled when she first gets home, and Marissa kind of like starts to set her straight.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Caitlin ends up pulling her shit, but Marissa, oh yeah, because she was competing with Taylor Townsend for the social chair or whatever.
Yeah.
But I still like, even like, alright, so now it's like senior year and Marissa wants to be the social chair. I'm surprised like how the students
She's been like every year because she's apparently the most popular girl in school.
I find that hard to believe. I just imagine everyone dislikes her immensely.
This is, okay, we all went to high school, right? We all knew there's like that girl who was apparently popular, but nobody really liked.
Oh yeah, my school probably had like 4 of them.
She's popular because she's just such a bitch. Like, I knew girls like that.
And post-high school...
That's Marissa. She's that popular girl who's a bitch, and the reason she's popular is because everybody's afraid of her.
And after high school, you know what? Her life would probably just wither away into loneliness.
Marissa was going to end up like some OC wife, Real Housewife. That's what her destiny was.
She's going to end up being like... Who's the one that Connie Britton's going to play in the OJ movie? Like the Faye character?
Yeah, Faye Resnick.
Yeah, Faye Resnick. Like, she's going to end up being one of those women. Like, had she lived.
Yeah, exactly. That was Marissa's destiny if she had lived.
She would have originally morphed into Julie Cooper, but she would have evolved to something beyond Julie Cooper, like Faye Resnick.
She would have stopped the emotional growth that Julie had.
Yeah.
She would have been Julie, like, season 1 Julie, and, like, that was it.
Do you know what's
social climber.
Do you know what's kind of strange is that this show kind of spawned the Real Housewives of Orange County? In a weird way?
Yeah, they probably did.
Because right after the OC, you had Laguna Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And then you kind of like a year or two later, you had the Real Housewives of Orange County. So, like, in a weird way, I think the OC kind of introduced American audiences to that lifestyle.
Yeah, I think, like, the OC inspired Laguna Beach, and Laguna Beach kind of inspired the Real Housewives of the OC or whatever.
Yeah, because, you know, teens had their version, so the adults want their version.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I really wouldn't call there's not that much of a difference between those two shows, but...
Probably not. I've never actually seen an episode of The Real Housewives.
Oh.
But...
I've seen
From what I understand, it's just like Laguna Beach, except maybe more alcohol.
Yeah, it's just like 40-somethings that just have shitloads of money, shitloads of time, and zero emotion or regard for other human life.
God, why do you people watch this?
Because it's entertaining. There's actually a great mockery of it. It's on Hulu. I think it's like Real Housewives of Orlando or like Hot Housewives of Orlando. Then there's one like of Las Vegas, and it's just like a spoof of it. It's like a parody, and it's actually kind of funny. But Casey Wilson's in it, so you might not like it.
Oh, Casey Wilson.
So that's probably an instant you don't want to watch it.
Yeah, there was that other chick from that show. She was on Quantico the other night, and I just was like, oh, why her?
Is it the blonde-haired girl from Happy Endings?
Yeah, the blonde-haired.
The one who like was on Scrubs at one point in time, or
I think
not the one from 24, right?
No, not the one from 24.
Why can't I think of her name? Her name just like fell out of my head. She's kind of popular.
Alicia
Cuthbert.
Marissa.
Alicia Cuthbert.
Yeah, her. Yeah.
It wasn't her. It was the other one. The more like masculine woman, the one that like looks like she could like beat you up. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, it was that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay, I know. Yeah, I never really liked her on Scrubs, but I did kind of like her on Happy Endings.
Yeah, I don't know, just that cast, except for, like, Damon Wayans Jr., they all irritated me.
It is one of my favorite shows. I do appreciate it, and I'm kind of glad that it only got like 3 seasons because before it had a chance to like just fade away into shittiness
and just go on forever and ever, and you're like, oh my god, why is this still going on?
Yeah, because the 3rd season of Happy Endings wasn't really that great to me. It didn't have the same magic as the first 2 seasons, so I guess I was kind of happy to see it go. Kind of like Arrested Development, by the 3rd season of Arrested Development, there just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
At least to me, I don't know.
And then you got the new season from Netflix. Which,
they had a big break in between, which just kind of, I guess, reinvigorated the passion.
Yeah.
And the same thing kind of happened to the OC. Like, the 3rd season, it kind of fall off the rails.
Yeah, the 3rd season, it was just not... I mean, how many times can Marissa be a hot mess and people are still, like, rooting for her?
Yeah, and it became, like, really melodramatic and really, like, soapy, and I think it just kind of turned audiences away. And then Marissa apparently had this huge following because when they killed her character off, like, people just did not want to come back.
Really? Marissa had that... Well, then again, Misha was, like, always in the tabloids, so she had to have had fans.
Well, I think...
who were gobbling up information about her.
I think the thing is, because I was in my 20s when the show came out, so it was just kind of like, like, oh my god, she's obnoxious. But I'm sure, like, teenage audiences, the more finicky viewers of television, were probably, they killed Marissa off. They didn't want to come back to the 4th season because she was the show.
Absolutely, yeah, I can see that, because Marissa was, even though she was a hot mess, she's still that girl everybody wanted to be.
Yeah, I'm sure there were like 14, 15-year-old girls who like watched the show since the beginning who aspired to be her.
Yeah.
And so that character was gone. They kind of went in a more lighter tone direction. It was more like it was less melodramatic. I mean, despite that weird like Ryan as the cage fighter in the first few episodes. After that, like the tone of the show shifted. And I guess maybe like adults stuck with the show, but teenagers just kind of like were like, fuck this, and like stepped off. Plus, like,
yeah, I definitely stuck with the show, and I actually enjoyed the 4th season a lot.
Yeah, like I think
once
like
you got past the Ryan Cage fighter thing.
Yeah, like I think the 1st season is the best, then the 4th season, then the 2nd, and then the 3rd. That's how I kind of
the 3rd is definitely
the worst.
The worst.
And, I mean,
of course, it had a lot to do with Marissa Cooper, who is, of course, the absolute worst.
Yeah, she basically became a black hole and just sucked the whole show into it. And what came...
And when you kill off Marissa, you create this opening and this ability to go in different directions that you couldn't have done if Marissa was still alive.
No. But I think it turned audiences away, but I think they ended up wrapping up the show nicely. Maybe we should definitely do like a 4th season episode if we ever do the OC again.
Yeah, we should.
We
definitely should. Yeah. The 4th season Chrismukkah episode is actually one of my favorites.
Yeah,
probably my favorite.
I think it's better than this first one, to be honest with you. Because I kind of... They kind of had a lot of other stuff going on this episode, like the Landale and...
Yeah, there's stuff going on, but it's not just Christmas. It's very different than what we got from Beverly Hills 90210.
Yes. It was more darker in tone, and plus they like tack in that whole like Oliver thing at the end that I kind of forgot about. Mm-hmm. And I don't really want to get into it, because he was the first creative bump in this show, and it just...
freaking Oliver!
He wasn't even on the show that long, but it felt like a million episodes.
God. Well, one of my friends tweeted me, he's like, oh my god, I forgot Oliver shows up in that episode. I was like, so did I, and then he was there.
Oliver's probably only like 4 or 5 episodes, right? Like his character arc's not that long.
Yeah, he's not in that many, because doesn't he like kill himself Valentine's Day or something?
No, I think what happens is he becomes way creepily obsessed with Marissa. Why, I don't know. But I guess he already like knew stuff about her
in the therapist's office. But it's her first time going there. And he, like, knows this stuff about her, and it is sketchy as fuck.
I think he just understands the type of teenage girls that go to therapy, because he obviously, I believe they established in another episode that he had, like, a girlfriend that he was obsessed with, and when she left him, he eventually, like, tried to kill himself. So I guess he's probably been, like, in and out of therapy, and maybe he just understands the type of people that go to therapy.
Maybe, yeah.
And he becomes, like, overly obsessed with her. And I think he, like, in the last episode is in, I believe he ends up, like, holding her hostage, like, at his penthouse, and he has, like, a gun to her head.
Yeah, it's so fucked up.
And, like, the storyline, when that storyline ends, you're like, oh, finally, the show can go back to what it was, but...
Yeah, you're like, oh, thank God, we're done with this.
But I think, like, they kept mentioning him, like Seth would go, like, Seth was kind of like a metacritic of the show. He would always, like, bring up things that had happened, but in a way that he was talking to the audience.
Because Seth was the TV character version of Josh Schwartz.
Yes. And then they would, what was the show that was within the show?
Oh my God, I forgot what it was called.
Oh, The Valley. It was The Valley.
Valley, yeah.
And I think, like, Colin Hanks is in, like, the star of The Valley, or he's one of the stars of The Valley. And, like, at one point, doesn't, like, the core four of the OC meet, like, the core four of The Valley? Don't they have, like, a run-in?
I think they do, yeah.
But, like, Seth would comment on The Valley, but he was, like, really just, like, commenting on the show that we were watching.
Yes.
Because he would just be like, oh, there's these same four characters, and they just keep shuffling them through this, like, these love triangles. He's like, real life isn't like that.
And there's this crazy guy.
Yeah. I think, like, he slyly will, like, mention Oliver in, like, later seasons, like, in that same vein right there.
Yeah.
I remember there was, like, an episode at some point, like, later on in the show when the doorbell rings and he's like, oh, God, please don't let that be Oliver.
God, Seth.
I wonder if they would have, like, ever brought him back had the show continued.
God, I don't think so. Oliver was so... Like, if they were, they probably would have done it before as the way to kill off Marissa.
That would have been a good plot twist right there.
Instead of, like, who was the guy that killed Marissa again? Like, who was he to everybody?
Volchek.
Yeah.
He was kind of like a bad surfer boy, wasn't he?
I don't even remember. Just remember he was an asshole. That's like...
He hits her with his car, right? Like his Jeep?
Yeah, like, Ryan and Marissa are in the car, and Volchek comes up in his car, and he, like, purposely rams into Marissa's side of the car.
And, like, Marissa dies in the most, like, beautiful way ever. Like, she's not, like, injured at all. She's just this, like, laying on the ground.
Just, like, Ryan carries her out of the car and places her on the ground because, God forbid, Ryan, like, not carry Marissa's lifeless body somewhere.
They have, like, they do that shot where he's, like, walking and the headlights are behind, so you kind of see, like, the shadow, and he lays her down on the ground away, and he's like, Marissa, I love you. And she's like, I love you too, Ryan. And then she's dead. There's no, like, blood gurgling out of her mouth or just, like, mangled body parts everywhere.
Yeah.
It's just this, like, beautiful television death. And,
Marissa.
So
Marissa.
We've covered the whole episode, I believe, right? We talked we yented it up for an hour and a half on the OC. I think this was an enjoyable episode. We got to talk about our
it
love.
Was enjoyable. I actually really enjoyed watching the OC again.
I Smell a spinoff?
I think so.
We'll definitely, in the new year, we'll have to come back to a non-holiday episode. Maybe we'll do a season 4 episode.
Yeah, we'll have to do something a little like a Taylor episode.
Yeah, definitely a Taylor Townsend episode, and then maybe we can even do like a next Christmas. We'll obviously do another Chrismukkah episode. Maybe we'll like go in order of the way we like Chrismukkah from now on. We don't do them in like a sequential order. So maybe next Christmas we'll do season 4.
Yeah, maybe.
Yes, but we have another surprise for you. We're going to do another Christmas episode before the new year. And so this is going to be a Muppet special. I believe, what is the actual name of it?
It is A Muppet Family Christmas.
So this combines pretty much every Jim Henson character that had been created at this point in time. So it has the Sesame Street characters.
Like, it has the 4, like, main groups. You've got your Muppets, you've got Sesame Street, you have the Fraggle Rocks, and you have the Muppet Babies as actual, like, puppet Muppets.
Yes, I forgot about the Muppet Babies as puppets. Was this before Muppet Babies, or was this after Muppet Babies had been out?
This is after Muppet Babies, but they had used, like, Muppet Baby puppets in the Muppets Take Manhattan, I think?
Yes, that was what, like, really brought the Muppet Babies into the world.
Yeah, and that's where, like, that, like, little scene in that movie is what spawned the Muppet Babies cartoon, which is, like, one of my favorite cartoons as a kid.
And which will definitely be a future episode of this podcast, I am sure. If
we can find it. I haven't been able to find it.
Well, maybe I can, like, conjure up a copy somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'll scour eBay. But I believe you can watch.
I think there's licensing issues. There's a reason, like, as awesome as a Muppet Family Christmas is, because Jim Henson's company owns Sesame Street still, but Disney owns the Muppets, and somebody else owns Fraggle Rock.
HBO.
So you can't air this anymore on TV because the licensing for it is such a mess now.
Yeah, so you can find this episode on YouTube, I believe. Just search A Muppet Family Christmas.
You will find it right away. I found it the other day, and my nephew watched the first few minutes of it.
And I am looking forward to dissecting that, so we'll get into that on the next episode. And then Christmas will be over for us, and we'll just kind of go back to our regular... well, actually, we get a New Year's special, then we'll just kind of go back to
we have a New Year's. We have an awesome New Year's coming up.
So stay tuned, and then after that, we'll be in our non-denominational episodes.
We will be back into, like, just regular, boring old life.
Dick Van Dykes and whatever else we can get our mitts on.
I think we're finally going to redo Charles in Charge so that people can actually hear it.
Yes. So, in case you're a new listener and you've made it this far into the episode, our very first episode recorded was Charles in Charge, the pilot. I was really drunk and I fell asleep, pretty much. And we just played clips of the episode and barely talked about it. And I decided it was not right for the world, but we're going to go back into it now that we've done like 30-some-odd episodes by this point. So I guess just join us next week. And as always...
Yeah. Bye!
Until next time.